pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
of
United
the
States of
United States
America
of America
and to the republic,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
One nation,
one nation,
under God,
under
indivisible,
God,
with
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with
and
liberty
justice
and justice for all.
Please remain, sorry for the delay there. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, servicemen and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Sloan Hayes here.
Condon,
Condon here,
Grow,
Here.
Linehan,
Linehan here.
McDonald,
McDonald here.
Murphy,
Murphy here.
O'Malley,
O'Malley here.
Sika,
Sika here.
Simonelli,
Yep.
Winslow,
Winslow here.
Spatafora.
Spatafora here. First order of business.
Is public comment, and there's one person in the queue.
Okay, I believe that's Janelle DeVitz. Janelle, I am going to allow you to speak. You should be ready.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
This is Janelle DeVitz of 3 Sheridan Street in Ward 2. I'm going to be super quick because I believe Councilor Condon, and I are going to come back before you for some further funding, but I just wanted to speak in support of approving the CPC recommendation for the Dever Park project. Councilor Condon and I have spent a lot of time on funding resources for that, public engagement and meetings, and working closely with the design team to come up with a great design and finding full funding for that if everything gets passed that comes before you. So we've reached out to the state for multiple funds and grants. We reached out to the city for multiple funds and grants, and I would like to speak in support of that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vitz. Great work. Council Condon, do you want to say anything since we're on the topic or move along?
No, tonight we'll be, I'm sure we'll be sending that to Finance Committee
Okay,
for next week, so. But
Okay.
she did, Mr. Vitz did a fantastic job of putting forward all the applications and really was a point person in the Dever Park rehabilitation. So I thank her very much.
thank you. Thank you, Councilor. Great work. I sat in, I think, 2 of the 3 of the presentations there and have been lucky enough to sit in other ones, but I know this is the best part. It's coming to completion and getting the funding. So the best part, but also the hardest part. So good luck with the completion of that park. Well needed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next order of business.
We have papers 30-22 minutes of the meeting, February 1st, 2022, and paper 31-22 minutes of the meeting of January 25th, 2022.
Okay, I believe there was, Council Winslow did send I don't want to say an amendment, but a fix to that. Clerk Lucy, has that been changed?
It's already been corrected.
Okay, just to make sure that Mr. Winslow got that in there. It was just for the rest of the council, Council Winslow just wanted to make sure that his quote was accurately portrayed in the minutes, and that has been updated by the clerk. So on Councilor Winslow's motion to approve the minutes for,
Motion.
okay, so a motion by Council Winslow, one for the,
No, I'm good.
you good?
I'm
Okay.
good yet.
On,
Council President, I had a question.
oh, sure, Council McDonald, go ahead.
In the January 25th minutes, I think
Yep.
there's just a typo at the bottom of page 3 that says Councilor O'Malley made the motion to send something to the Intellectual Competency and Awareness Committee. I think that should be, I think it's intercultural competence.
Intellectual, potato, potato.
Seems like a mistake we don't want to make. So I don't know if I need to make a motion to change
No, we
that.
can make a motion to amend that. So on Council McDonald's motion to amend the minutes of January 25th of 2022 to make that notation of changing intellectual to
I'll second.
intercompetency. On who seconded? I'm sorry, I was reading.
Karen.
Karen, on Councilor, on second by Councilor Cologne Hayes. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Grow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. So the minutes of January 25th, 2022 will be amended to reflect the change by Council McDonald. Now on Councilor Winslow's motion to approve the amended minutes of January 25th, 2022, and the minutes of February 1st, 2022, seconded by
Councilor Condon,
Councilor Condon. So seconded by Councilor Condon. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Malone Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
yes,
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Minutes have been approved and amended. Next order of business.
Paper 32-22, mayoral appointment, Dr. Roxanne Reddington-Wilde, 35 Baincroft Road, Malden, as a member of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, set term to commence upon confirmation of the City Council and to expire on January 31st, 2024.
I do have a hand raised. Councilor Winslow has a question or comment.
Just a comment on this appointment and Angie Liou's and Brian Slater. These are all people that have already been serving on the Affordable Housing Trust. And I've been serving with them. They've done a great job. And so just want to point that out. I may suggest that we would, once we've, I guess, accepted the communication, that we go ahead and talk about just approving these on the floor. Thank you.
Okay, questions, comments? Councilor Sika has a question. I'm not looking at the raises. So Councilor, hold on. Councilor, I think Karen Hayes might have had her hand up first and then Councilor Sika. So Councilor Hayes?
Yes, thank you. I was going to ask the same question that we did last week or the last time appointments came up. So I'm assuming that we're still doing them through Zoom. So we won't be able to see any of them before us, even if they're reappointees. And I'd also like to say, I do know most of them. They're excellent, excellent residents. They're so involved. They have great knowledge on affordable housing. So I'm glad they're on there, but I just wanted to make sure that that's what we're doing.
Okay, so another discussion. So Councilor Sika now.
Thank you, Councilor Spatafora. I was just going to recommend that we actually do refer these to committee because we're going to be back in person for next Tuesday. And I know some people last week had some doubts about doing reappointments via Zoom. So since we're going to be back next week, it'll be no different than if we were in person right now, referring these reappointments to committee. So I would make a motion that we refer these appointments to the committee.
Seconded.
Second, yeah.
Okay. So Councilor Winslow, hold on one second. The second is please. I'm trying to look at the screen and holding hands. So Councilor Winslow did have his hand up. Councilor Winslow.
Just one other correction. Brian Slater listed his address as 195 Beach Avenue, Malden. He actually is in Melrose. This is one committee. He has expertise in affordable housing. So, and he works with local banks. So, this is one committee that has people that get appointed from outside of Malden. It's sort of, otherwise we look for people in Malden. So I just wanted we should make that correction moving forward that he lives in Melrose, not Malden. So just to be clear. So, I mean, if people would want to them, I defer to the rest of my committee members as to how to go forward, but all right, thank you.
All right, so we do have a vote. So Clerk Lucy, I'm not going to ask for an amendment there. Just we make that correction. So it says 195 Beach Ave, Melrose, Mass.
I did have that when I was going to get down to him because I saw that earlier and I knew he was from Mayoral. I did see
Okay.
that.
So we'll just make sure that that's been reflected in the notes. Thank you, Council Winslow. So I believe there was a motion by Council Sika to send then to personnel, seconded by, I believe, I heard, I don't know, I see Council Simonelli's hands up. I also saw Councilor O'Malley yell it out. So I don't care who seconds it, but somebody, does it matter?
I'll yield.
Okay, so on Councilor
Thank you.
Sika's motion to send to personnel and property for review, personnel and property, I'm sorry. Personal appointment, seconded by Council O'Malley. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Malone Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
yes,
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. They
So
have.
that would be all three appointments besides Reddington-Wilde would be Angie Liou, 35 Mount Vernon Street, Boston, and Brian Slater, 195 Beach Avenue, Melrose, correct?
Correct. I believe that was the intent. Council Winslow's hands is back up. Council Winslow, you have a question?
So I just wanted to communicate with Chair Simonelli on this, is that I please ask that we reach out to Ms. Liou and Ms. Reddington-Wilde and Mr. Slater to make sure that, I don't know if a week's time is enough for them to arrange their schedules. Because they do work outside of Malden or have other things that, it may take more time to get them in. So I just ask that we be courteous to them and give them a heads up on that. Thank you. Great.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. See no other hands. Next order of business.
35-22 mayoral reappointment, Constable Mark Joseph Snyder, 103 Boardman Avenue, Melrose, renewal is 3 years.
Council Simonelli, hold on. Council Simonelli and then Council Crowe.
I'll yield.
Okay, Council Crowe. I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes. Council
The
Crowe.
constables don't get referred. The constable is just the.
Yeah, it's May's
committee
appointment. That's what I, yep,
Place it on file. Place it
correct,
on file.
correct.
So motion to place it on file.
Okay, on
Second.
Council, who's yelling that?
Sika,
Secret.
On Council Simonelli's motion Council Simonelli's motion to place the mayoral appointment for Dr. Roxanne Reddington-Wilde on, is that right? On
No,
file?
it's the constable.
No, the
Mark
constable.
Joseph
Sorry, I
Snyder.
read the wrong one on the constable. I think I need stronger glasses now.
Mark Joseph Snyder.
Mark Joseph Snyder on file, seconded by Council Sika. Clerk will call the roll. Sorry about that.
Malone Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
London, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Out of 4, yes. Item is placed on file. Next order of business.
Paper 36-22, order be it hereby ordained that Title I, Section 12 of the Code of the City of Malden be amended to the new ward precinct boundaries submitted by the City Council to the Local Election District Review Commission and approved on December 10th, 2021.
I think everybody remembers this project, right? So there's a little background here. This is going to be referred to ordinance because we have to just match the ordinances with the updated precinct and wards and precincts, including the streets. So this is just a general exercise. We'll send this to ordinance. They'll discuss it ordinance and send it back to full council for a vote, just to give everybody a little history there on the process. So on Councilor Crow's motion to send to ordinance, seconded by,
Counselor,
yep.
may I, as
Yeah.
a sponsor, may I just speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't notice you were the sponsor. Council
No
O'Malley.
worries. So I've reviewed Ward 4. What I would ask is, in addition to the ordinance committee doing their review, every ward councilor, even if you're not on ordinance, should read the descriptions while looking at the map that we approved, and just double check to make sure that the precinct lines are correct. Really important for Ward 3 because of your sub precincts and any of the wards that have sub precincts. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. So on Counselor, so I'm going to do Counselor O'Malley's motion, seconded by Counselor Crowe to refer to ordinance. Any questions? I don't see any hands up. Clerk will call the roll.
Malone Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
London, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
That a 4, yes. Next order of business.
Paper 37-22, order that the appropriation enumerated below, being in the amount of $5,000, be appropriated from Community Preservation Act Fund for the following project: Crescent Slope Restoration and Enhancement.
On Council Murphy's motion to refer to finance,
Second that.
seconded by Council Condon, I heard. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Clone Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Grow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Item has been referred. Next order of business.
Paper 38-22, order that the appropriation enumerated below, being in the amount of $700,000, be appropriated for the community preservation, from the Community Preservation Act for the following project: the Dever Park revitalization project.
Motion to
Count-
refer to finance.
Yeah, on Council Murphy's
Second.
motion to refer to finance, seconded by Council Simonelli. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Clone Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Next order of business.
Paper 39-22, order that the appropriation enumerated below, being in the amount of $200,000, be appropriated from the Community Preservation Act Fund for the following project: the Malden River Works project.
Motion to refer to finance.
On
Second.
Council,
Second, Cologne Hayes.
okay, on Council motion, on Council, no worries, on Council Murphy's motion to refer to finance, seconded by Council Cologne Hayes. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Item has been referred. And I will just channel my past predecessor as president, just to let the general public know, if they're watching, all 80s, that we just referred over $1 million to finance without any little debate, just to let the public know that it's going to go to committee, and then we'll have a committee meeting and we'll discuss those appropriations. I want to make sure that we just didn't seem like we were discussing these. These are all coming out of the Community Preservation Act, which we have starting to really see the output after, initiating that. So this is great work on many councilors, many individuals, and certainly the Community Preservation Act. And now some of these projects are kind of coming to fruition. But I certainly do not want to undermine or make this more efficient than it needs to be. These are just being referred to committee. They'll be discussed in committee. They'll be voted out of committee and then come to full council where they can be discussed again, just as an FYI to the general public and maybe some of the newer councils, but I'm sure they know that by now. But I think it was worth just letting the public know that the council is certainly doing their homework, and we'll talk about appropriations in finance where the work gets done in the committees. Next order of business.
Paper 41-22, order that the appropriation enumerated below, being in the amount of $200,000, be appropriated from the Community Preservation Act Fund for the following project: the Linden Ice Rinks project.
Motion to refer to finance.
Second,
Okay, Council Murphy's motion to refer to finance like the other ones, seconded by Council Sika. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Council Murphy's gonna have a busy week. Next order of business.
More stuff.
I
coming.
know, I read it.
Paper 40-22. Order that the sum of $1,193,359.19 is appropriated into parking garage expense account from account 0010-481-5731 for the operations of the parking garages in the downtown. Order.
Council President and City Clerk, may I ask, I am going to refer all of these orders for transfers to the Finance Committee. And I'm not sure, do we need to read them individually and vote on them individually, or can we do them as a group?
I think we can do them as a group, but I think the clerk should just read them into the record, especially since we're.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm just saying, maybe we read them all.
Yep.
And because my intent is to refer all of them to Finance.
That's fair. Counselor O'Malley.
I just have a question once they're read.
Okay. Is it in particular this one or any other one, or just a general?
Well, yeah, so most of them say where the money is being appropriated from, except for the largest one for one over $1 million. It just says appropriated. It doesn't say where it's coming from.
Yeah, so I don't know if Council Murphy, I actually, when I saw that, I had a similar question. That is, and I don't want to speak for the CFO or Mr. Ron Hogan, who talked to me with the MRA, we had a call. From my understanding, Council O'Malley, it's a good question. It is appropriation internally. They're moving it from internal, because as everybody recalls, the Malden Redevelopment Authority is now part of the city. It's a transfer internally between a Malden redevelopment or I don't know if it's actually an MRA account or the old, I forget, I still call it LAS parking. But the money isn't sitting in one of the accounts that they've actually borrowed a small sum to do some of the capital improvements there. And I think they're moving it internally as part of the integration with the city. But we can certainly discuss that in finance. But I had a similar question too.
Yeah, Councilor Murphy, if you could just get to the bottom of what account it's coming from, that would be helpful. Thank you.
I absolutely will, Counselor.
Yeah, the good thing about being on Zoom is I actually had Mr. Reddington just sent me an email and said it will be discussed in finance. It's not revenue. It's revenue, not a transfer. It's internal. It's an internal. So we'll find out certainly though in finance. So clerk, if you could, I don't see any hands or objections. Clerk, if you could just read the remainder of them and then we'll make one motion to refer to finance, all the papers.
Order that the sum of $250,000 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred to police overtime, account number 0010-210-5150. Order that the sum of $250,000 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred to fire overtime, account number 0010-220-5150. Order that the sum of $250,000 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred to maintenance of school buildings, account number 0010-195-5254. Order that the sum of $204,259 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred into energy efficiency capital account number 4038-134-5860 for the ongoing energy efficiency upgrades in school buildings. Order that the sum of $85,000 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred to parking equipment account number 0010-481-5361 for parking meter upgrades. Order that the sum of $25,000 is appropriated from available general fund free cash and transferred to City Council Professional Services account number 0010-111-5300 for diversity, equity, and inclusion training.
Okay, there's a lot there. Big, a lot of finance papers coming up. So Council Murphy's motion to refer all those papers, seconded by Council Condon said it, but he's got to unmute. So I'm going to go with Council Simonelli. Clerk?
Cologne Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Grow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
So yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Next order of business. Papers have been referred to finance.
Paper 42-22 resolved. That is the sense of the City Council as part of the council's training with the Mendez Group and our desire to ensure that current and future decisions and procedures addressed by the City Council, including an awareness of any diversity, equity, or inclusion issues or complaints that the DEI coordinator advise the city council on a monthly basis of any issues or complaints he or she has been made aware of or that could exist in the city of Malden.
Council Murphy for the paper.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, in listening to Ms. La Rochelle last week, and as she was speaking about issues that come before her, we as a council really don't hear about any of those issues. And I think it's very important as we move forward, not just during this training period, but for us as a group to understand what's happening in the city, where we might have an issue that we need to address from a policy or a procedure perspective. And if you look at, the Manvest Group's write-up, it's saying that we as a group need to work cohesively within the city to be aware of what's happening and create structure going forward to be able to make sure that the DEI efforts that we, that are important to us are affected in our policies. So this is something, and I've spoken to Maria Louise, I haven't put a report out here because I know that there's probably some issues that are, sensitive, someone's name, et cetera. But what I think we should know is, such and such a date, an issue came in, the scope is, we don't need to know who the participants were, who, called it in, et cetera, but, when it was resolved, how it was resolved, so that if we have to, have any type of ordinances or policies or procedures, that we can take that into consideration. Also, as a city council, we have 5 departments that report directly to us. And I think that it's very important that we, as a council, know if there's any issues associated with those groups that do report to us, because we do, basically appoint them again in 3 years, they're directors. So I think it's something we can work out, whether these comments, if it's related to a department, goes to our council president or comes directly to us, et cetera, in a session. But I do think that we need to understand what the issues are so that we can deal effectively with them. I know, the mayor is apprised of them, as Ms. Bibios reports directly to the mayor. But I do feel that in our role as legislators, that we need to have the same information in order to move forward in a way that's going to benefit the city and all of the constituents that we represent. So that is why I put this forward. Happy to take it. Looking for a second. Happy to take any questions. Once again, it's just to resolve.
I'm sorry, I'm talking on mute. I'm talking on mute. Thank you, Council Murphy. I do have a couple hands up.
Second.
Council Murphy, you're first. Council Murphy. Excuse me. Council Malley had his hand up first. Council Malley.
Thank you. I'm not opposed to this. I think that we might, rather than just passing this on the floor, I do think that we want to consider and maybe talk to our HR department, the DEI coordinator, only because I wouldn't want people to shy away from reporting things, because it could eventually, be aired out at a city council meeting. So just something to think about, particularly with like the public records law and the open meeting laws in terms of when we can actually hear this information, unless of course it's coming through executive session if it's particularly sensitive. So again, not opposed to this in theory. I do think we do need to know what's going on. I do think we have some homework to do to find out how do we do this in a way that respects the process as well as the parties, both people who are being affected, but also those who are being accused. Thank you.
Councilor Spatafora, may I respond to that?
You may. Got a couple hands up, so go ahead, Council Murphy.
Yes, and that's why there's no a specific report here outlining what it should tell us. I did have a conversation with Ms. Louise just saying that it's something we would work together on. But I think this is something that we do need to know, and we need to find a way to have it delivered to us in a sensitive fashion that gives us the information, but doesn't, prohibit anyone from, reporting. So I totally agree with you on that, Councilor O'Malley. But once again, this is just a resolve. I think it gives us, it states the case that the city council needs information. And that, we can work towards the future of how we get that information, but we do need it, especially in light of, we're going to be going through training. We're going to be spending money to make sure that the council operates in an effective way. And you can't operate in an effective way if you don't have the information to do that. So.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Counselor Karen Cologne Hayes next, and then Counselor Linehan, and then Counselor Condon, and then Counselor Simonelli, just so everybody knows their place. Counselor Cologne Hayes.
Thank you. I was going to say, actually, Counselor Murphy answered some of the questions, but my big concern would be confidentiality and fear that people wouldn't report if they thought it was going other places. We do definitely need information. It's key in how we move forward. I totally agree with that. Maybe making it, I think it said monthly there, but maybe a little bit, so it's not so time, costly to Ms. Bibios, who's working on a lot of other things. But the other question is, and I'm new here, so I don't know do we get these reports from other directors as well? Everything, reports would be helpful on for every department. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Karen Cologne Hayes. Counselor Amanda Linehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Recognizing this is a resolve, I just wanted to also give kind of similar feedback to what Counselor Cologne Hayes said. I'm feeling like maybe monthly is a lot of work for the person that would be compiling it. I would personally be good with even just quarterly, but I do think as long as we're sort of keeping in mind the confidentiality and sensitivities, that this is information that could definitely be useful for us to have, particularly for the department heads that do report to us. So I'm definitely supportive of this, just feeling like maybe monthly is a lot given what else is on that person's plate, but that a shift to quarterly could be productive without being overly onerous. That's all.
Thank you, Counselor Linehan. Well said. Counselor Condon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to see the law department included in this because they can review the case, and we do want to make sure we're not violating anybody's civil rights. Do we belong in executive session or do we not? So I think the law department has to be included in this every step of the way. I, like Council Linehan, I'd have no problem with quarterly reports either. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Condon. Counselor Simonelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to echo my senior counselor Condon's words there, and I agree. I think that the law department should be involved because we don't want to violate. We don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. If we have to go in executive session or what have you. But I also agree with Council Linehan as well. I think quarterly would be fine, and I do agree with Councilor Murphy. I think that there needs to be some accountability to the council, so we know where the problems are, that we can sit and we can work with the mayor's office in conjunction with the other departments to see where they might be having more problems, so we can get those resources to those departments that need it the most. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to even dive more into it as we go and speak with outside of the inner departments here at City Hall, and talk with the fire department, police department, personnel, and see if they're having any problems as well. But I like the resolve because I think that we should have this information, because if there's issues going on, we should be aware of it, and so that we can take the appropriate action to make it right. So I like this resolve, and I like the quarterly, and I do believe that we should have the law department look into it as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Counselor Condon, do you still have your hand up, or you just haven't taken it down? I just want to make sure.
Oh, no, I haven't taken it down.
All right. Any other questions or comments on this? There is a motion it is a resolve. I believe Counselor Condon did recommend making, Counselor McDonald, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, I do just want to appreciate the proactivity here. I think that's really important for us as a council to make sure, as everyone said, that we're getting that information. My wondering is whether, Councilor Murphy, you think it makes more sense to try to I think if we made a couple of, small amendments, we could address these issues and then move on this tonight, or whether it makes more sense to hold it until a future meeting and take more time with those things.
No, I'm actually happy to make a few adjustments to it. And I actually do think that the way we should move forward, it should be collaboratively with the mayor's office. So, this was kind of something that I put out there. If the majority thinks it's quarterly is fine. But I think, what I'd like to do is see it move forward so that we can sit down with the mayor's office and come up with, something that works for all of us. And we can obviously thank you, Councilor Condon, for bringing the legal department into it, and Councilor Simonelli, for also, advocating for that. I think, we can have a meeting to decide how this moves forward. What I'm hearing from my colleagues is the fact that I think we all believe we need this information. So let's move forward and come up with a plan as to how we get it. So maybe we take out the monthly reporting and we put in wording that says, the council will work with the mayor's office to come up with a reporting timeframe, and also include the legal department to make sure that we don't violate anyone's civil rights. So I think, we could do something like that, and that will give us the wherewithal to move forward and actually make this happen.
Councilor McDonald, you still have the floor.
I would support that. I would suggest regular in lieu of monthly, and then that gives us a little bit flexibility there. And I would say, rather than just protect civil rights, I'd also just say the confidentiality in the community.
Okay.
But I would support that. I'd be happy to second that amendment, Councilor Murphy.
Well, I think that's actually, it might be your amendment, Councilor McDonald. You just put the amendment in. So you, I believe that's your amendment. So,
Councilor Murphy will second that.
all right. So just hold on to discussion. Councilor Simonelli has hand up. Councilor McDonald, you might have to repeat that so we get it for the record, but Councilor Simonelli, you have the floor.
All right, do you want me to repeat the amendment now?
Just wait till after Councilor, because he might add something. That's
Got
why
it.
I don't want to
Got it.
make you
Yeah.
repeat it. Councilor Simonelli, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I'm just a point of information, I think. So you got time to write down your amendment there, Councilor McDonald. Give you a couple of minutes there. But the point of information that I have, Mr. President, is I'm assuming that this is going to go to my committee.
No,
This
we're going to,
resolve?
it's a resolve.
Resolve.
But we were just talking about making some changes, putting it into a committee to meet with the mayor's office. How are we going to do that?
I don't want to speak for the petitioner, so I'll let Councilor Murphy give the, I didn't
I'm
write
just
the
saying,
resolve.
do we have anybody that we have in mind that's going to represent our body with the mayor's office on this resolve?
Councilor Murphy, you wrote the resolve. Councilor Simonelli's got a question.
Yes,
I
Councilor
don't want to speak for
Simonelli.
you, Councilor.
That is a very good question. I was planning and I had spoken with Miss Louise about meeting with her about it. And then coming back to the council with, whatever we came up with that was agreeable. If you don't feel that that's the appropriate way to move forward, certainly we could move it to a committee if you'd like to.
No, I just wanted to make sure I knew where it was going. That's all. No,
Yes.
I have no problem with it. None. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hey, Councilor Simonelli.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy.
So now we're going to go back to Councilor Karen McDonald with his amendment.
Okay, let's see if I got this. So the amendment would be to strike the word monthly and replace that with the word regular.
Yep.
And then to add the sentence, the council commits to working with the mayor's office and the law department to develop an appropriate reporting process that protects the confidentiality and civil rights of members of the community.
Okay, everybody got that?
And I second that.
Okay, so Councilor McDonald, I'm not going to repeat it. Clerk has that. Clerk has that.
You want me to send it to you?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you have
I
that,
always ask
that'll be
to send it.
great. That way we don't-
All right, will do.
All right, so there was a
Appreciate it.
second. I just want to say a great collaboration. I do think it is a tightrope you walk when you want to figure out, fix anything. You do have to identify the issue. And I think that's what, diversity inclusion training helps us, is actually to identify the problem. And then we can identify the solutions for building a more inclusive workforce and certainly city. So I think this is one way for us as a council and a leadership team to be part of the process and understanding what is being reported, but in a way that is also protective and certainly within the rights of those individuals that might have a problem. And that's something we do not want to stifle, right? We want to make sure that if there are issues, we can certainly meet them. So I appreciate the input and the collaboration. So on that, on Councilor McDonald's amendment, seconded by
Councilor
Councilor Murphy, it's a resolve. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Sloan Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Grow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
So yes.
Spatafora,
Out of 4, yes. Resolve is passed. Next order of business.
Paper 43-22, resolved that the city council hereby modifies the makeup on the committee of the future Maplewood Square. Whereas in 2021, the city council established a committee on the future Maplewood Square comprised of 3 councilors, a resident, business person, and the Malden city planner. Whereas the city council finds it desirable to make changes to the makeup of the committee. Now therefore it be resolved that the Malden City Council updates that makeup the committee to be as follows. The committee on the future Maplewood Square shall be comprised of, number 1, the Ward 6 City Council, who shall serve as chair. Number 2, the Ward 5 City Council, who shall serve as vice chair. Number 3, an additional council appointed by the council president. Number 4, at least 2 Malden residents, one who shall reside in Ward 6 and one who shall reside in Ward 5, to be recommended by the city council sitting on the committee and approved by the city council president. Number 5, at least 2 representatives of businesses with interest in Maplewood Square, either an owner or a designated employee, who shall serve as liaison between Maplewood businesses, the Malden Chamber of Commerce, and the committee. And number 6, at the choice of the Malden Historical Commission, a designated member of the commission. Members of the committee can recommend additional participants be appointed or to serve as representatives to the committee by the council president. Purpose of the committee will be to engage residents, businesses, and other stakeholders in the discussion about the future of Maplewood Square, help plan and support events to promote Maplewood Square as a neighborhood business district, and conduct community forums, surveys, and other actions helpful in developing a neighborhood plan for Maplewood Square.
Council Windsor, do you have any discussion? I know it is a resolve, I believe, but and there's 3
Yeah.
sponsors. But go ahead, Council Windsor.
So yeah, this is, we back in September of last year, we passed a resolution that helped create this committee, and we have started meeting now the appointments. And a couple of things, because the ward boundaries are changing, and now actually a corner of Maplewood Square is part of Ward 5 now, it makes sense to specifically designate a Ward 5 councilor as a participant, and Councilor Murphy was on anyway, but it just makes sense to do that. And then I think the other aspect was, we had a discussion at our last committee meeting, and we're getting more robust participation now. We also want to make sure we reach out further to businesses and get the Chamber of Commerce involved. So the thought was we try to expand the committee a little bit and actually keep it flexible. Councilor McDonald suggested that as we get interested people and interested stakeholders as we go through this kind of survey and community outreach process, we may want to have the flexibility to expand the committee. So that's really it, is to have some flexibility to make sure that as we get more people engaged, that the community helps reflect the community better. So that's the main purpose of it. So just sort of to update it, and like I say, we are going forward. We had a very good first meeting. We have now put in a proposal to try to get some technical assistance to help on community forums, and we are working on the Maplewood Fest. So we're meeting. It's exciting, and I think you'll see some nice things out of this. And this is just to make sure that the committee has the capacity to take on and help build on the energy we hope to be tapping in the community. So that's my overall comment. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor. There are 3
Oh,
sponsors.
just one further comment.
Yep.
And we also, the other one aspect is city planner Michelle Romero, she's still willing to help the committee with her expertise in planning and historical preservation, but she did not feel that it was appropriate for her to actually be a member of the committee. So that's another change. So So we would like to make sure if the Historic Commission's interested to participate, but we didn't want to, create conflicts or that type of thing. So that's just one other aspect that we had initially had the planner on the committee, and she requested that she just participate as a staff person, but not be officially listed. So thank you.
Hey, Council Wenzel, I was just going to remind you that you read my mind. So for the councils who do remember that Michelle Romero's input was certainly important to the city and the community. That was one of the reasons why she thought it'd be best if she came off that committee, which is probably for the better in terms of making sure there's no conflict. So well said, Council Winslow. So this motion on this is
I
sponsored by
got
Council.
my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Council Condon. Council Condon.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's going to be an effective committee. I think I count 8 people on the committee. Is that by design, or are you looking for an odd number to add someone to it?
Well, we have 8 people, but we may, like I say, we have the possibility of, as we get, right now we only have 1 business person. So right now it's technically 7. And then as we recruit more businesses and residents, we'll try to have an even number. But I think the key is that we want to make sure, and to me, it's a standard of, I want people on the committee who are going to do the work of the committee. So and if there's more people than 8 or 9 people who want to do that, let's expand the committee. And that was Councillor McDonald's suggestion as well, that we expand the committee based on the energy and commitment of people who want to get involved. And I think we'll see that grow as we have our events and community forums going forward. So that's really a thought. It's a little bit funny to set something up initially that seems to be odd, but we're hoping to add people as we do more outreach to the businesses in the community and that. So that's really, it's a little bit funny, but
I think you're making a good move.
Flexibility, thanks. Good. All right.
I think you're making a good move, getting ahead of the curve on this. So
Yeah.
I'm certainly in favor.
Hey, Council Condon, any other questions? Okay, so this is a resolve, but I do want to make sure that there are 3 sponsors, Council Murphy, Councilor Kerry McDonald, and Councilor Winslow. Am I right? Yeah, Council McDonald, Council Winslow, and Council Murphy. So on Councilor Winslow's motion to pass, clerk, pass the resolve, clerk will call the roll.
Who second that, Craig?
I'll second
Oh, I didn't
it.
get a second. I'm sorry.
I'll
Council
second
Murphy
it.
second.
Council
My
Murphy
bad.
second.
Council Murphy's, yep, sorry.
Cologne Hayes,
Cologne Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Grow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Tika,
Tika, yes.
Simonelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
And so, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Resolved is passed. Council Condon, do you have your hand up? Because I lowered it down. Did you
No.
read it? No, don't touch it. I lowered it. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Next order of business.
Paper 44-22, communication from the Mayor Gad Christensen presenting the final report on Malden use of force policy submitted by the advisory group of Obama's pledge. You have a letter if you want me to read it.
You can read it. I just, before you start reading the clerk, I just want to let the council know, you saw Lisa, Ms. Cagno's email that we do have hard copies. So instead we can have them in the office, but we'll have them in the council chamber next week since we are going to be there. And the plan is, before he leaves the letter, the plan is to place this on file. And then there's an advisory committee that has been recommended in this, if you have the chance to read it already, and that will require an ordinance change. So the mayor's office will be sending down additional papers as part of this report. They have not delivered this, the police department just received it, so there might be some changes. But the mayor's office will be sending down papers to create the ordinance for the advisory committee and possibly some other changes. So we will be referring this to committee once the mayor sends that down. But at this point, it's going to be placed on file. Because that was one of the questions I had. Do we send it to ordinance or public safety? It might be a combination of both after speaking to the mayor's office. I do want to take the time to thank the entire committee for that. It was 18 months, I believe, of hard work. There were some past counselors. Council Anderson was on there. There were some new counselors, Council Cologne Hayes and Council McDonald. And I believe Councilor Linehan and Council Winslow served in this committee too. So it's 18 months of hard work. We finally have the document, but I just want to assure this committee and the public that it's not just going to be placed in file and forgotten about. The mayor's office will be sending down some subsequent changes in terms of ordinances and next steps of public safety. And I believe the chief will come in at one point in the public safety committee once those papers come down. So Clerk Lucy, if you could read, if there's any questions, happy to answer them, but that's all I received when I spoke to the mayor's office the other day.
The letter dated February 3rd, 2022 regarding Malden use of force policy, final report of the advisory group for Obama's pledge. Dear members of the City Council, I am pleased to share with you a copy of the final report submitted by the advisory group of Obama's pledge for Malden's use of force policy. As you may recall, in June of 2020, as part of the Unite Malden 2020, we answered the Obama's Foundation call to action and signed the Reimagining Policing Pledge. The initiative called on mayors and local officials across the United States to review and reform their use of force policy. Malden joined many of our neighboring communities who also took on the pledge, including over 300 cities nationally. By signing on, we committed to working with the Malden Police Department and the community to review Malden's use of force policy. An advisory group for Obama's pledge was formed, made up of community members who leveraged their experiences and backgrounds to provide input on the current policy. They have worked tirelessly over the last 18 months to review, research, provide insight, and identify areas of improvement, specifically through the lens of a community member. Their recommendations are included in the final report, which was submitted to me, Police Commissioner Salvatore Giannetti, and Police Chief Kevin Molis. I want to take this opportunity to thank the members of the AGOP, which included Jade Dumani, Kelly Collum, Isada Eddy, Ben Hartzell, Karen Cologne Hayes, now City Council at Large, Darren Josie, Dean Lawrence, Carrie McDonald, now Council at Large, Yusin Mock, Erga Perret, Tamerly Rock, and Rakuti Tsage, all working with the group or also working with the group of city councilors Amanda Linehan and Stephen Winslow, former city councilor Neil Anderson, and Maria Louise from my office. Community input was critical to this process, and their time and commitment to this work was sincerely appreciated. I look forward to working with you, Commissioner Giannetti, and Chief Molis to address the recommendations and work together to ensure more transparent and equitable public safety policies in Malden. Sincerely, Gary Christensen, Mayor of Malden.
Thank you, Mr. Lucy. I have two hands. Councilor Karen Cologne Hayes.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to take a few minutes to personally thank everyone who worked on the advisory team. They're all listed on the report and were just read. Last Sunday, when the group met to review the final recommendations to present to the police department, I went back to review my notes and couldn't believe that the first meeting was held on July 9th of 2020. So we pulled together members of our community with different backgrounds and ideas and worked hard over the next year and a half to present a very well thought out and researched set of recommendations. It was a true collaborative process within the group, but we also held joint meetings with the police chief, Molis, and 35 members of the Malden Police Department were also in attendance, as well as an open community meeting that was attended by many members of the community. Also, the survey was translated into 5 different languages, and we had over 1,300 responses, both electronically and paper copies. So I just wanted to say that the committee really did their due diligence and worked super hard. And so we're hoping that the report that's now with the Malden Police Department comes back and we hear soon about what our next steps would be. I just wanted to thank everybody. It was really a lot of hard work done by volunteers.
Thank you, Council Winslow.
Yeah, I too want to echo Councilor Hayes's, Cologne Hayes's comments that it was a fantastic committee, a lot of great due diligence. I also want to credit to our Malden Police that we had a use of force policy that was relatively up to date, but this was a very worthwhile exercise to see what particular areas needed to be updated. And I think we have a lot of great recommendations. They're reasonable and vetted well with the community and the police department. So I look forward to seeing these go forward, but just thank everybody for their participation. I know Councilor McDonald and others were very instrumental. So I'm happy to see this coming to fruition after a lot of effort in terms of translation and community outreach. And now to see and work towards seeing that the recommendations are fully implemented is now our next step. So it's good to hear that the mayor's committed to put forth the ordinance changes that are necessary, and the police chief is, open to reviewing this and taking into account the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Winslow. Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would echo a lot of what my fellow councilors have already said, and just really want to reiterate how much time our community members put into this. This is a committee that, really has been meeting for 2 years on Sundays with no breaks during the summer. It's carried on. The amount of work that has gone into this, honestly, I feel like what I've contributed is the least of what went into this getting done. Just a tremendous amount of writing, editing, compiling, analysis. I would encourage anybody in the community who has the time and is interested in this to actually dig into the report. It's pretty illuminating. Some of the comments, if you take the time, like I did, to read through actually all of the responses that the community gave, there's a lot in there. It's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of disparate thoughts. People are on different extremes of thinking for sure. But the great news is that by having a survey that over 1,000 people participated in, where we got a pretty broad swath of the community to participate, we know that the level of agreement with the recommendations is pretty representative and a really robust sample of who we were able to talk to. Obviously, we'd love to always have more, but I think that, this is about as in-depth a process as you could have hoped for. And one of my takeaways is that I think as a city, we maybe need to think about investing in a line item that's either for a more quantitative analysis software or a line item for a consultant to do that for us, because we learned a lot on the data analysis side too of, I think we reached our limitations of what we can collect through a Google form and then be able to produce, statistically significant numbers to attach to a lot of our findings. So that's kind of, thinking down the road. I think that's something that we run into a lot as a city, is just wanting the resources to be able to do that really robust data collection and then report it out in a way that is, that we can attach numbers to. So just something for us to think about. But again, really wanted to thank the community members who put a lot of their volunteer hours into this, as well as all the city staff that helped out, and encourage the community to go ahead and read the report. It's really good stuff.
Thank you, Councilor Linehan. And since you spoke last, you have your motion to place on file, seconded by, I have a second. I need a second. Councilor
Second,
Karen Cologne Hayes had her hand up first. So seconded by Councilor Cologne Hayes. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Cologne Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Seeker,
Vicky, yes.
Manelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
So yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Motion, item is placed on file. Next order of business.
We have committee report number 45-22, license petitions. Number 571-21, petition Livery Linda Delicano, one vehicle, its renewal. Paper 579-21, petition Class 2 Reganos, 20 vehicles, it's a renewal. Paper 580-21, petition Livery Arco Group, 3 vehicles, it's a renewal. Paper 14-22, petition Livery Nabil Faris, 1 vehicle, it's a renewal. Paper number 15-22, petition Livery Amanda Singh, 1 vehicle, it's a renewal. Paper 16-22, petition Livery Ideal Park Limo, 1 vehicle, it's renewal. Paper 530-21, petition extended hours, Planet Fitness, 24 hours, it's a renewal. The Standing Committee on License, to whom they reported the above papers, have considered and say make the following report. The committee recommends that these licenses be granted.
Councilor Seeker.
Motion to receive the committee report.
Council Seeker's motion to receive the committee report. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Got a 4 yes. Committee report on Council Seeker's
Council
motion.
for really fast. City clerk, can we remove Regano's as we vote on these, please? Because I need to recuse myself from
Sure.
voting on that one. So
Okay, you
what,
want to do that? You want to
Okay.
recuse yourself from that one first, and then we'll just go back to the rest of them?
that's fine.
So we have to vote on Council Seeker's motion to recuse herself.
second,
I'm recusing myself because Regano's is my uncle, just in case anybody is not aware. That's why I will be recusing myself from voting on that.
All right, so
Okay.
this is Council
Okay,
Clerk,
five.
Clerk Lucy, can we do this? Can we take the vote for Council Seeker, which she has to be given permission to recuse herself? And then vote on the Reganos, and then she can vote on the other ones. Is that fine? Because
Correct.
that way it's smoother that way, I believe. So on Council Seeker's motion to recuse herself from the Reganos license only, that is a relative, seconded by, I believe, Council Simonelli.
Council Condon.
Council Simonelli beat you. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Cologne Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Out of 4 yes. Council Seeker is recused from that license, so.
Winslow needs to take
I was
over.
gonna say the vice chair then steps up.
Okay,
So,
sure. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
You put him in the captain's chair. He wasn't ready.
Okay, all right. So for, this is just for Regano, so.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Paper
So,
579-21.
So, paper 57921, yeah, the committee reported favorably on this license, so I would make a motion that the council as a whole approve this license.
I
And
would second
Council
that.
Winslow, let me just make sure I don't get any questions. If I change my view, I apologize. Council, there's no questions on Council Winslow's motion to approve.
Second,
Seconded by Council Condon, I believe. I heard that.
yes.
Seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Cologne Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Out of 4 yes. Motion, committee does, oh my God, license is granted. Sorry. Next order of business.
Thank you.
All the other
So,
license.
so on all the other licenses that the clerk just read, the license committee met last Tuesday. We had compliance in. All of them are renewals. They have no issues or anything like that. So we passed unanimously in the committee to vote to grant the petitions. So on that motion to grant,
second,
Okay, on Council Seeker's motion to grant the license is seconded by, just making sure there's no questions, no hands. Seconded by Council Simonelli. Clerk will call the roll.
Cologne Hayes,
Cologne Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
McDonald,
Donald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Simonelli,
yes,
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Out of 4 yes. Licenses are granted. Next order of business.
Docket is clear.
Okay, before I do personal privilege, I actually goofed and forgot. I would ask for a moment of silence for a long time Malden resident who was also a dentist who lived in Ward 3 at the corner of Clifton Street and Highland Ave, Dr. John Horn. Dr. John Horn retired, I believe, I don't know, officially, unofficially, but about 4 years ago, moved up to New Hampshire with his family, very involved in the community. His wife, Jean Horn, unfortunately passed away at a much younger age, was part of, I believe, Kiwanis and many other organizations in the city of Malden, but John Horn passed away the other day. So a moment of silence in memory of Dr. John Horn. Thank you.
Council President,
Yes.
Can we just add to that? A moment
Yes.
of silence, but Tommy Hannon, who recently passed away last week, today was his funeral. He is a lifelong Malden resident, and he is a retired Malden firefighter. He's just really bled blue and gold, and Malden was his home. So.
Okay, hold on one second. I have a couple hands up, so unfortunately, there's probably some others. So,
Councilor Condon.
yeah, hold on one second. Council Wenzel, did you have your hand up?
I did, but I'll wait until this. I'll
Okay.
wait for personal privilege.
Council Condon, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to also add an individual, former Malden High School football coach, former teammate of mine, family very, very involved, raising money for the sports back in the late 80s. Paul Finn passed away yesterday.
He did?
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
very suddenly. And he will be missed. It's a great Malden family.
Yeah.
He was a great friend. So,
Superintendent too, right? Was he? No, his sister was.
no, he was a
Principal.
vice principal
Yeah.
and coach for many years, coached a lot of kids. So, Paul Finn.
Yeah, and then Council Simonelli, he has his hand up. Unfortunately, there's several of our community members have passed. Council Simonelli?
I'm just waiting for personal privilege.
Okay, so I believe on count, so this is a moment of silence for Dr. Horn. Is it Tom Hanley? Council
Hannon.
Hannon, and then Hannon, and then Paul Finn. Council Rise, moment of silence, please. Thank you. So I believe it's personal privilege, and I believe Councilor Winslow was first. So Councilor Winslow, you have the floor.
Okay. All right. Let's see, where am I? Okay. Yeah, I just wanted a few things. We know this is the month of Lunar New Year for our Asian Chinese community. And this weekend on Saturday in the afternoon, Wallam Kung Fu Studio will be going through various businesses in downtown and helping our businesses celebrate. So come downtown and enjoy some nice food and the dancing and music and that type of thing, all in honor of Chinese New Year. And the other thing is
Council
the
Winslow, do you have a
MBT
time for that? Council Winslow, do you know a time frame?
I can share that. I know, just it's more based on past experience. I know that typically they do it like one in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then so it's sort of lunch and afterwards. I did reach out to Maidu. I didn't get specifics as to where, when, and where, but there'll be some activity downtown. They'll be kind of going from business to business. So they'll be just to be on the lookout and come on down, have a nice late lunch and enjoy the festivities down there.
Okay.
And then just another thing, the MBTA is proposing some fare changes, and if people are interested in that, let me get that up here. They can find out they're actually making some changes to various passes. They're going to create some 1 day and 7 day passes that I think that'll be beneficial to people in Malden, as well as you can actually get another transfer, which I think will help people in Malden. If you're transferring from the subway to various buses, rather than just having one transfer, you can get a second transfer, which can help people in Malden. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the MBTA.com website and look under fares for 2022. And if you're interested in commenting on that, they have some public hearings coming up on Thursday, the 10th, February the 17th. So if you're interested in finding out more, go to those sites. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Condon.
I already spoke.
Oh, sorry, Councilor Crowe.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just a reminder that the ordinance committee has a joint ordinance and planning board meeting tomorrow night. It's going to be virtual, so if you want to join in, you can get that off the city website. The joint planning and ordinance is for site plan review to establish a site plan review process for all zoning districts for educational and religious use. For buildings and floor space over 10,000 square feet, a table of intensity regulations by adding a minimum of open space, usable open space for public and public and nonprofit schools, and general regulations on obstructions. So there's three matters that the ordinance committee and the planning board will hear together. There are other items on the agenda, including the proposed marijuana retail at 36 Charles Street and 140 Easton Ave, a special permit. But so if people want to join there, listen in, have their thoughts heard, please join us tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Councilor Crowe. Councilor Hayes.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge that it's Black History Month and to thank actually our school committee member, Dawn Macklin. She's been great. She's been posting every day about different people in history that you don't usually learn about in school. So that's been really helpful to me and a great learning experience. But I'd also like to let everyone know about a virtual event from the Coalition for Anti-Racism and Equity in Education. This is a statewide youth-led conversation about ethnic studies, cultural responsiveness, and inclusive K-8 curriculum. It's this Thursday, February 10th at 6 p.m. And I'll give you a website to go to for that Zoom. It's I've been following this from day one, and I'm not surprised about what our youth can accomplish, but it's amazing to have watched this process over the past 2 years develop into bills S 365 and H 884. The intention of this bill is to create a commission for anti-racism and equity in education with members chosen from advocacy groups, teachers, and superintendent units and associations. So please support our youth and attend, and you can find out more on their website, which is www.care4equity.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Lots of Malden youths in there.
Thank you, Councilor Hayes. Councilor Simonelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to send a little shout out to my son, Joseph, for a wonderful recovery night that he did last night at Anthony's. It was amazing to see the amount of people that had come through and the sponsors that was there. It was like it hit every corner of the city. I mean, every corner of the state was represented at last night's event. During this pandemic, I don't know if people realize it or not, but like the fellowship of 12 steps and sobriety and recovery has been hurt. They've been hurting because of the simple fact that they really can't go out and go to meetings and have that fellowship with one another. So this was my son had put this on. It was the first recovery night, and I thought it was very well thought out. It was to target folks that haven't been able to come to these kind of, go out to meetings on a regular basis. And it was a way to, bring people in with some entertainment and food. But, what I saw there was like a lot of camaraderie amongst people being able to have the opportunity, whether they had 1 day sober or 30 years sober, to come in and mingle with one another, have something to eat and talk about, how they've been dealing with their sobriety throughout this pandemic. So it was great entertainment. I just want to thank, Albert Spatafora and Anthony's for helping my son put this together. And he stayed there through the entire night, helping serve food. I mean, there's just was so many sponsors. The Bridge Recovery from Malden was another sponsor there. It was just nice to see people coming together to help other people that are suffering from substance abuse. And a lot of times, we forget about those things, but, it's a small community, really, when you think about it. You end up knowing people from, all over the place, because a lot of times, people don't make it the first time around. So they have to go to some of these different other recovery centers. And so you end up bumping into them and know them. But I really want to take my hat off to my son Joseph for really doing a great job. They raised like over $7,000 last night for their 501(c)(3) that sponsors people to go to sober living after they get out of detox, because it's something that's really needed and there's not enough of them. So I just want to take my hat off to him. He did a great job. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome, Council Simonelli. Council Seeker.
Thank you, Council President. So this Monday is Valentine's Day. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. I talked to Bobby Knox today because I'm watching another storm for this Monday. Hopefully it's going to go out to sea. So we can all pray for that so that Monday is not ruined. I also want to wish Malden High School cheerleaders good luck at their upcoming competition. That will be held at Malden High on Sunday, February 20th at 12 p.m. If you have nothing to do that day, there's going to be cheer teams from all over our surrounding cities. It'll be fun, and it's a great way to cheer on our girls that have worked so hard this year. Malden Warming Center is also still in need of shoes for any season. I think the deadline for the shoe drive is February 18th. I haven't seen that it's changed. So if anybody needs to clean out their closets, if you can clean out your closets within the next week or so and drop off your bags of shoes over to the First Nazarene Church at 529 Easton Ave. This week, they are also in need of juice boxes, ponchos, individual cereal cups, Chef Boyardee microwavable meals, soup, the cups of soups, noodles, small plates, paper bowls, cough drops, smartphone chargers, Androids and iPhones, hand warmers, toe warmers, and I don't know what super warmers are, but those are on the list. So if anybody is in the position to donate some of these items to the warming center with these cold months, they're greatly appreciated. Councilor Spatafora and I volunteer there every Friday. We cook dinner and serve 22 to 25, depending on what the numbers are, every evening and every Friday evening. And I can't tell you how much stuff that the warming center goes through. So if they get a lot of juice boxes, I promise you they will be gone by next Friday. So if you can drop off anything, or if you can make a donation, I know they're still selling raffle tickets on their Facebook page. So if you can check them out to get them to their goals to be able to help a homeless population, it would be great. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And before I take, I don't see any other hands. Before I take a motion to adjourn, I just do want to say, I just want to say thank you to Bobby Knox and the DPW. I know that some councils have received some, I would say, constructive criticism on the snow removal, and I understand. I happen to live near Beebe, where one of the residents made a comment, and factual, it was right. But I just think the amount of snow that we had, it was a tough area, and also, residents also have to do their part in terms of shoveling their in front of their homes and helping us with the ramps. Certainly hydrants, but given what Bobby Knox went through, I went out that evening. I know Council Simonelli went out. I do want to thank them. Unfortunately, sometimes they get the brunt of the storm, no pun intended. We did order some new equipment for Bobby Knox, which should be coming in soon. It probably won't be here for the season. But with that being said, myself and Councilor Seeker and Councilor Amanda Linehan did have a meeting on winter parking regulations to always look at them to see if we are doing the most efficient plan, not only for when a snow emergency is called, but when they do call them. And it's probably just one of the many meetings to address that. So we're not going to sit back and lessen our laurels for that. I did receive some emails about enforcing the shovel in front of your house, and I certainly understand that. You occasionally get people who don't care and don't do that, but then you're the ones who unfortunately can't do it. And I know there's a list out there, but that's something we have to work towards in that regard. The other thing that I think goes into that is also, I've seen some emails about out-of-state cars again and paying their excise tax. And this is something that's coming up every year in terms of the council trying to get a citywide parking. I called Council Condon. That's why I left the meeting on the committee again this year. I know there is still some challenges with private ways and dead ends. Excuse me, private ways and paper streets. For those councils don't know what that means, the new ones, that means they are not officially a street yet for numerous reasons. But that's been our challenge for the residents. And I know a couple of them, I've got a couple emails actually saying, I thought we were going to pass this. So hopefully there's some momentum. I think we have to really take a strong look at this again, even though it's never really been put to bed, but I think we have to do this. There's nothing perfect, but I think this is the point where we should do something like that. So I did ask Council Condon to revisit that topic, get the committee meeting as soon as possible. The other thing I would say, again, through emails and just it comes all together, is we just went through a pretty hefty finance papers, and there's a lot of cash being allocated there. I checked with the CFO, Mr. Rannigan. There's $18 million right now in free cash. That will not last by the end of the year. We also have the VOC, the impact of the VOC, good news, bad news story. So there's that strategy committee and long-term planning that I've also talked to the financial team and asked them to start together to put a package together with those with the impact that we now know for the VOC to come before the city council and give an update on all the updates, parking garages, capital, retirement funding. And the plan will be to have that come before the full council and then refer that to that strategy committee so they can start to meet with some type of agenda going forward. So looking forward to see those committees start to work and hopefully get some stuff done. It is February. And like I said, I think it's important now. And the impetus for me was receiving some emails that were centered around snow, but had many tentacles and certainly impactful down the road. So I do know that Councilor O'Malley has his hand up, so I will wait. Councilor O'Malley.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what you had said about the historic storm that we had. And
Yep.
I do think that the DPW did the best job that they possibly could with the unique circumstance that we had. And, C-Click Fix is a great tool. I think that we all know that it is abused often in our community. It's sometimes used to harass our employees. It's oftentimes used to call employees away from what they're scheduled to do that particular day. To handle something that maybe our residents would be able to handle if they took a little bit proactiveness there. I'm not saying that everything that's submitted on C-Click Fix is frivolous, but I do think as a community we have to take in consideration the fact that our particular DPW they schedule what they're working on in a week, and unless it's truly an emergency or unless it's truly something that needs to be taken care of and you cannot do yourself, I would use C-Click Fix in a sparing manner and try to help the community by taking a proactive step and maybe picking up that piece of trash yourself and dropping it into a barrel. It's a community. We're all in this together. And it's not just the city of Malden's responsibility to take care of the city. It's all of ours. Thank you.
Well said, Councilor Bailey. And I would say this, I just want to, on the snowstorm, I have a pretty big snow blower, so I actually do my entire side of Elm Street. There's not a lot of houses there, so I'm not putting myself out there if somebody spends hours. The reason why I do is my next door neighbor is quadriplegic and is often sent to the hospital for various medical reasons, and I never want to see that individual stuck. It usually takes me an hour to do my yard, my driveway, and that entire side of Elm Street. It took me almost 6 hours because of the amount of snow. And I just don't, and there's nowhere to put it. So I've seen some of the residents' concerns and I completely understand that. It's frustrating on everybody. But unfortunately, we had a lot of snow. And, some people did the right thing, some people didn't, but it was just a challenge. So again, I just want to stress that. And the final thing I would say is I forgot to start with this. I do want to congratulate, hard to believe I'm getting old, my son, Mariano, who's got accepted to Malden Catholic. But more, to my surprise, he is getting some scholarships. So thumbs up to my son for doing pretty good on the entrance score. That's made daddy smile. But I'm proud to see my son get accepted to Malden Catholic and keeping at least my legacy, hopefully better than my legacy in Malden Catholic. So with that being said, on Councilor Crow's motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor Sika.
On-
Clerk will call the roll.
Clone Hayes,
Sloan Hayes, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Linehan,
Lanahan, yes.
McDonald,
McDonald, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Sika,
Sika, yes.
Manelli,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes. Motion to adjourn. See everybody at planning board if you want an ordinance tomorrow, and then see everybody next week in person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night,
Night.
Night.
night.